Back on Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network on this Thursday morning. Of course, last weekend, the state high school wrestling tournament went on at the Fargo Dome. 17 Highliners, 10 boys, 7 girls competed. And Coach Trevor Hansen for the boys joined us. That's got to be one of the largest contingents we've had at the state wrestling tournament, boys and girls combined.
Yeah, yep. We did have 17 boys qualify one year.
Okay.
And that was a few years ago, but we did have 17 qualify. And that was back when the East was not quite as tough. Mm-hmm. Now we got Central Cass in there, and you add a team, and then you add 13 weights, or drop to 13 weights,
right.
Sorry. And then you have 4 alternates. Now each team can bring 4 alternates instead of 3 like it used to be. So
would they be considered unattached if they were there? Or are they still considered your team?
Yeah, they're still considered your team.
Okay.
They're just non-scoring.
Okay.
Or you can pick, of
right.
course, who you're non-scoring.
But out of our 10 boys, 3 finalists, or 3 finishers this year that placed, 1, 5, and 7, if memory serves. Of course, Colton Griebel, Ryer Muskie, and Owen Hunt. We'll start with Owen Hunt. How has this young man improved, as a wrestler? 28 and 15, I think, this year was his record, something like that. Had some big wins throughout the year. Just his freshman, just a freshman too at heavyweight.
Yeah, very young heavyweight. Mostly a weight dominated by juniors and seniors. Although there are some younger heavyweights. There's a sophomore from Watford City. There's a freshman from Minot. There's some pretty good wrestlers that are a little younger, although we'll be going Class B next year. But tremendous improvement, even just from the beginning of the year. Now, of course, last year he wrestled, qualified for the state tournament. Mm-hmm. Wrestled pretty good last year, but his improvement from the beginning of this year to the end is amazing, and a lot of that has to do with mental, just his mindset of knowing he can win and knowing he can beat those kids. And I think he's quite a bit stronger this year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, going from 8th grade to 9th grade helps, maturing, and he's just awesome. I mean, came in as the 15 seed,
yes, and
places 7th. Now, this was heavyweight and probably 107 were probably the deepest weight classes in the tournament, mm-hmm. honestly. And that usually isn't the case. Right. 107 is usually 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. And it was dominated by a lot of older kids. And then heavyweights usually, you have a couple good guys, and mm-hmm. then it's just kind of a scramble after that. And, you throw in some kids who aren't as good. But every single person in the heavyweight weight class had a winning record.
Right. Wow.
All 1 through 16. So that just shows you that those kids are pretty good.
Yeah.
And he had a great season and a great finish, and it was great to finish with a win. Going 3-2 at the state tournament is way better than 2-3. So
I was going to say, to pick up a win at just a win at the state tournament, because now you're wrestling the best.
Yep.
And if you can get yourself a win there, and Owen Hunt again, 28 and 17 record-wise that he finished this year. And he lost his first round, but then comes back, wins the next 2 in the consolation, and ends up beating a kid out of Bismarck. I always say, if you can beat anybody from Bismarck, you're beating a pretty good wrestler.
A couple years ago, that East Negaberg was probably the number 1 heavyweight. Mm-hmm. Maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
And then last year, Amari Williams, who Owen also beat.
Yep.
He was number 1 ranked heavyweight last year, mm-hmm. to start, preseason number 1.
Right.
And Owen did a good job just grinding through the whole season and just wrestling hard. The other thing about Owen too is he's always in a match. Always in a match. It don't matter. A lot of heavyweights are, because mm-hmm. it is a lot of throws and it's a lot of upper body and stuff like that, but he's always in a match. He beat 2 seniors, one to knock him out from placing, mm-hmm. Caden Mansky from Cheyenne, and then he beat the senior East Negaberg for the 7th place match. So a lot of good things on the horizon for that young man.
Moving up, 189, Ryer Muskie takes 5th, goes 34 and 10 this year, and takes 5th. And I had a joke when I had him here in our state preview. I said, "There's a picture of you, Ryer, where you got a headlock, you're about ready to finish a pin, and you got a grin on your face." Your brother has the same grin, and it's the same type move. Does this kid just enjoy getting out there on the mat and wrestling?
Yeah, he's a really tough kid, mentally and physically. He grinds really hard. He's shown a lot of change this year in practice, taking a little bit more of a leadership role. Him and Colton, both, but taking more of a leadership role, being very, positive and saying things like, make sure your nutrition is right, make sure you're taking your vitamins, and make sure you're, on weight, and make sure you're just, make sure you're taking care of business. So he reiterates the things that we say too, and he did a great job getting down to 189. He was pretty heavy during football. Did a great job all season. Actually, towards the end of the season, was actually getting almost too small. And I was telling him, you got to make sure you keep eating, make sure you keep your weight up, because he was weighing in a little light. And the four guys in front of him were pretty tough. Getting fifth, that was what he was seated. The four guys that placed above him were really good wrestlers. So. A lot of good things on his horizon, again, also next year, because he's only a junior.
Right. And
he had a great season.
He did, 34-10, and he, battled some knee injuries and battled some stuff and was able to battle through it.
Oh, absolutely. He's got, two rough knees. He's got 2 meniscuses removed, one obviously in each knee, football and stuff like that. So, he's on borrowed time with his knees. So he wanted to make the most of this season, and he did. He wrestled really well.
Well, then, of course, at 139, Colton Griebel does what Colton Griebel does. Another state championship, 45-1 this year. We could sit here for the next half hour and go through all the accolades that this young man has, but how special has it been for you to be around and watch this kid wrestle for the last 6 years plus?
Yeah, it's been great. Similar to his brother, similar things. I think Colton... he has more wins. He has some more, tournament championships. He's got some more accolades. He, especially on paper, probably a better wrestler than Coy if you talk about longevity, stuff like that. It's just neat to see Colton come in as a 6th grader, a really little kid. 7th and 8th grade, he was super small, like 85 pounds. I mean, couldn't barely wrestle the 107 pounders because he just was so small. And he did some wrestling, and he won a few matches, and or he won more than a few, I guess he likes to say, but he won a few matches. He won some, but he was just so undersized. It was so tough. And then to see a little bit of adversity come last year where everything wasn't so easy. Now, I mean, he did lose a few matches last year. It wasn't like he only lost one at the state tournament, but he lost the state championship last year, and was real excited about, getting redemption, I guess, against that kid. That kid ended up not wrestling, which kind of stunk, and Colton was real, was real excited about seeing him. So to see him grow through that was great, from being a little guy to getting his weight up, to getting bigger, growing, maturing, and then seeing his mental go from last year losing at the state finals to this year just understanding that nothing was going to stop him. So
Noah Savage was who he met in the finals again, the kid that he's met 3 times prior, 2 tech balls and a pin, so this was the 4th go-around. And it's almost like Noah knew, I'm just here to take 2nd place, and he knows where it's at. But you know what? You still got to go out there and wrestle. You still have to take care of business, and he did 16-0 tech fall, I believe, in that championship match to wrap things up. And you look at the when he gets his hand raised, the photo of him getting, it looks like there's a little relief on his face. That, okay, it's done now. I've done what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and some of my some things I like to say to some of our wrestlers. When you win, you should be thinking about that you should win that match. When you see a lot of crazy celebrations and a lot of stuff like that, to me, in your mind, you maybe didn't think you were going to win. But when you go out there and know you're going to win, or think you're going to win, and want to win and know you're going to win, when you win, then it's a little less. You're excited,
right?
But it's a little less like I got you kind of thing. It's more of did my job, came here to do what I did, and I did it. So it was probably a little bit of relief for him. You could see a little bit in his finals match. He was a little bit Well, when they wrestled at East Region, that kid shot right off the whistle and kind of smacked Colton's leg, and he kind of was, not ready for it.
Right.
So he was kind of waiting for that kid to come after him, which good by that kid. Noah was very gracious all the time. He was never, never kind of mean or anything like that. He was always gracious. And, when actually after the match, I told him, I said, you go out and win state next year. Or go win 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Go win your 3 now. Now
Yeah.
it's your turn, kind of thing. Let's pass the torch a little bit. And it's always good to see East kids do well. So.
Of course, Colton will be going to UMary next year, and I just find it ironic that Ben DeForest, the only person that beat him this year, is going to be his roommate and teammate now when they wrestle for the Marauders. But that's going to be a fun wrestling team. I would love to see that team wrestle next year.
Yeah, and they're good this year too.
Yeah.
And then they got a few guys leaving, and hopefully those guys can see the mat and we can get out and see some duels, because they don't wrestle around here a lot, but some. But hopefully we can get in to watch them, And we got down last weekend to see Coy.
Yeah.
We went down to Iowa and saw Coy. That was awesome. Coy's a great person, and it was fun to see him. And his family was there, and we went to watch the duel, and good duel. And just wished he was a little bit closer so we could see him, a little more, and see him wrestle a little more too. So Colton being around or being a little closer will be nice. We'll be able to get there and see him. So.
Well, you look at the other 7 wrestlers that went, that didn't place, but a lot of great experience for these younger guys. The Simon Trapps, the Carter Coughlin, the Chase Coughlin's. I could sit here and rattle off, but just the experience these young men, and then the women too, but the young men got at this state tournament this year.
Yeah, a couple big ones that kind of popped out to me, both Coughlin boys. For one, Carter was a 7th grader, of course, qualifying for state, had a winning record on varsity. He also had he wrestled a couple of junior high matches and stuff too, and obviously won most of those. But he had a winning record on varsity at 114, not at 107, which again, like I said before, 107's usually your 7th and 8th grade kind of guys, your little guys. He did a really good job wrestling tough, and he wrestled really well this year. He went 0-2 at the state tournament, but he was the only 7th grader. There was only 4 7th graders in the state tournament, and he was the only 7th grader above 107.
Okay.
There's 3 at 107, and then Carter. Carter was the only 7th grader above 107, so that's pretty awesome. Chase won a match at the state tournament. Last year didn't even qualify, so to go to qualify, or from not qualifying to qualifying and winning a match at the state tournament was awesome. He won a very tough match against a kid he had been back and forth with all year in sudden victory, but wrestled really well. Chase has a lot of bright things coming in his future too. Yeah, I mean he also had a winning record too, a very pretty dang good record. So a lot of bright stuff coming for him. Billy was another senior.
Yeah.
Billy's first year wrestling, qualified for the state tournament. It was good to see Billy. Billy was excited. Hunter came out a little late for wrestling. We wanted him to come out earlier, but he had a great regional tournament. Tyson Claybo, always improving, needs to get bigger and stronger. And then Dylan Hunt, our other senior that we lost, or not lost, but that
Graduates.
Graduates.
Yeah.
So, but my assumption is Ryer will be up there at 215 next year probably, and just stay big and be big, hopefully. This year he lost weight like crazy, like it was nothing, so hopefully he can keep his weight up there. So.
Well, we were talking, Class B next year, I believe probably in that southeast region, I'm guessing. We don't know yet.
I hope not. But.
Yeah, because that's Lisbon, south border. And but either way you slice it, you're going to be going into Class B, and that doesn't change a whole lot, because you're going to that's probably that's a lot of great wrestling in that Class B this year. Lisbon doesn't even make state as a team. South Border, kind of the Kings down there. But about this, how exciting is it? It's moving down and getting a chance now when you get into that Class B, and as you look forward to next year.
Yeah, I think team-wise will be a little bit better. Yeah. Obviously we lose Colton and Dylan, 2 integral parts to our team, but I think we can compete a little bit better team-wise. Most Class B teams, I shouldn't say most, but half the Class B teams don't have as big a lineup as West Fargo Cheyenne. I mean, when you're West Fargo Cheyenne and you can weigh in 40 kids for 13 weights or 25 kids for 13 weights, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
You can pump any kid in at any spot and bump around and move away from us or anybody. I mean, not that they were really good, not that we're gonna, state runner-up, not that we're gonna beat them, but if they needed to, if they needed to move some kids for matchups to win the duel or to win a match, they can do that because they have so many extras. Where most Class B schools probably don't have that luxury of having so many kids,
Right.
so we have a better chance of winning some of those duels, and I think it'll be better team-wise. Tournaments are going to look a little different. We're going to go to some different tournaments. We're going to do some different things. So it'll be fun to see those tournaments, those Class B tournaments, and see how we compete at those levels.
Well, definitely going to have one of the best facilities in Class B, that's for sure.
Yeah, they already asked us to host a super regional. Everybody's asked us to host a super regional, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want that. I mean, of course, sometime, but I don't know about right now.
Right,
so.
exactly. Well, I know Coach Miller usually handles the girls, but we'll just touch on the girls. They had another great 3 placing out of those 7 that went. Victoria Sanchez, Miley Christensen, Deegan Kirschman. But I guess the one question I have for you as the boys coach, but as a head wrestling coach here, you're going to see an influx of young ladies coming up from Express, and you're going to have probably a full girls wrestling program next year. And just as a wrestling coach, period, I don't care boys or girls, to see that, how exciting is that for Valley City? You're going to have 15, 16 possibly girls at the varsity level next year.
Yeah, it'll be good. I think Victoria's the lone senior that graduates, so we lose one girl, and then we have quite a few 6th graders. I think there's 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and then hopefully some more girls come out, and hopefully the girls that we have out stay out. Gabby Hanig ended the year with an injury, so
Right.
we're hoping that she can be healthy or get healthy enough to wrestle. That's one of her goals, so I think that would be good, and she's a great wrestler. Probably another state placer that we didn't have because of injury. So yeah, I mean, it's great, it's good. It'd be nice if we had another wrestling room, it'd be nice if we had some more stuff, but I keep emailing Johnson about every week, and you build a new school, make sure you put 2 wrestling rooms. Yeah, because the other thing is then we can practice at the same time, Yeah, it's going to make some challenges, and it's going to make some things tough. It's great to see the program flourishing. Obviously, we got some good girl wrestlers, female wrestlers. They're really good. If once they get some more girls out, we're going to have to think about space and where we going and where we wrestling. So that's going to put in a whole bunch of other, different things that we got to think about. So that too. Yeah, it would be nice if we had, obviously nobody anticipated girls wrestling 20 years ago when they built the Hack, but, at least they built one, so at least we got one wrestling room.
It's kind of not a bad problem to have, though.
Right.
Is you got too much, not enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could use 5 more boys,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I want 50 or 60 like Central and Cheyenne have.
Right.
That might be a little bit of a headache, but we could use about 5 more boys, and that'd be really nice too. Because then you always have sickness and illness and injury and stuff. So
unforeseen things that happen throughout the year.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Hansen, I appreciate you joining us. Another great Highliner wrestling season in the books, and I'm sure they'll get a few days off, and then they'll start their off-season weight program or their next sport, track, baseball, or whatever the case may be for these.
I already have some young kids in the room wrestling. There's a qualifier on Friday to qualify for the dual team, for the middle school dual team. So I already got some middle school kids in the room, and we're still practicing. So.
And I know Express has got their big tournament coming up this weekend as well. So lots of wrestling still to go here in Valley City.
Yep.
Coach, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul.
Coach Trevor Hansen joining us from Highliner Wrestling. We'll be back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highliner Activity Network.
On our speakers are.
And good morning. Welcome. Another edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highliner Activity Network on this Thursday morning, and we're even, dancing in the dark. We got Springsteen.
Yeah. I didn't know that we had music coming out here for the guys are doing a little running right now. That's why the music's
That's all
playing.
right. If that's get them to run, let them do it.
Yep.
Let them do it. Well, the boys practicing this morning because get a chance to go to the Hack or the Shack and watch the girls play this afternoon. Coach Jim McDaniel joining us from the boys team. How you doing, Coach?
Good.
Well,
early morning.
It
yep.
is I'm going to say, if I walk in at 10 after 7, and you guys probably been going an hour.
We got going at 6 o'clock this morning. So,
right.
yep.
Oh, good. Get them out of bed early. Let's
Yep,
go.
yep.
Come on, start the day,
Yeah,
boys.
you know what? They do a pretty good job getting up in the morning. We've had pretty good practices in the morning this year.
Good.
Yep.
Well, let's hope that leads to good games here. You
That's
got
right.
2 left to go. Well, let's talk about the 2 games since. We've split since last time we chatted, the Fargo Grove game, a victory over the Grovers. Boy, the Grovers are a tough ball club, and came in and took a little bit of a run late in the game for you guys to secure that one.
Yep. I thought we played. I thought we played pretty well. And yeah, Oak Grove is a good scrappy team. I think everybody in Region 1 is. And we played well in that second half to kind of give us a little comfortable cushion, I guess,
Yeah.
and finish the game. I thought pretty strong.
4-6 in the region after that victory, so it's right there in that middle. You,
Yep.
Lisbon, Central Cass, Northern Cass are kind of all grouped in the middle.
Yes, yeah, and I don't know who I'd pick to play, so it's gonna get crazy how it all finishes, out of what seed we get.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking, it really doesn't matter what seed we get.
Yeah.
We kind of preach all along, we're just preparing for the regional tournament, and right now with the girls, Northern Cass was the 6th seed, and here they are in the championship game here
Yeah.
that we're going to go watch today. Of course, we're going for the Highliners, but when it comes to the boys, we might get that 6th seed. And, there's nothing wrong with that because the teams that we're going to have to play, it's either going to be Lisbon, Central Cass, or Northern Cass. It doesn't matter if we're the 4 seed. It's going to be Central Cass, Northern.
Yep.
I mean, it's the same teams that we're going to have to play. So, but even as the 6th seed, you can watch tonight when we go watch the girls play. We're watching a 6th seed as who they're playing. So,
Yeah.
at the beginning of the year, that's not where you'd pick yourself to be. But if that's where we are, we have, great opportunities to get into either the championship game or a qualifying game to make a run for the state again.
You stepped out of the region, went to Region 2 on Tuesday against Hillsborough Central Valley, and I thought they were going to hit like 33s before the game was done. They had 10 in the first half. That first half really was hurting. The second half, you guys played well and scored 43 points in the second half, but just that slow start.
Yeah, we started slow. We couldn't make a bucket. It's not that we were getting bad shots either. And Hillsborough shot the lights out. Both Mike and I had been watching. We'd watched quite a few games, and one of them was Hillsborough against Oak Grove. Just because we had just played Oak Grove, let's just kind of see it. So that was one that we were kind of watching. It was 24-24 to start the fourth quarter when Oak Grove and Hillsborough played. So 24-24, they couldn't, and then, so you're like, okay, and then we watch, of course, some other games against Thompson and things, and then they come out and just, I thought we were defending pretty well too,
Yeah.
and they, they're like, well, okay, where was this team on that video? And Oak Grove played a 2-3 zone the whole game. And so here they are missing shots, and they're in a 2-3, and then we're trying to be up in your face a little more, and they're knocking shots down all over. So tough first half. I thought we played a really great second half. If we could have had a few more minutes on the clock, we were kind of given a run where it really gets dicey. So I like how we finished that game. As we go, we need 4 quarters like that.
Yeah.
That we're in that part of the season. We need 4 quarters, not 2. Yeah.
And then you look at, I think we mentioned it last time, but not Jack Samuelson now. He's got 4 games back. It looked like he's slowly but surely starting to work into that shape again, and he
Yep.
goes at it hard.
Yeah. It's good to have him back. He's not 100%.
Right.
There's different play. He goes up for a rebound, and he gets some tingling in that arm if it gets slammed the right direction,
Right.
and stuff. So, yeah, I wish he was 100%, but tough kid. So he comes in, does what he can. So.
Hit the road your last 2 games now. You got Wahpeton here tomorrow at Wahpeton tomorrow night, and then Kindred to wrap it up. What does this team need to do here these last 2 games? Really, you just start thinking about it. These are games you're going to have to win if you're going to find yourself at the state tournament at the end of the year.
Yeah, we just both, tomorrow night we need 4 solid quarters. We need to take care of the ball. Hopefully we can shoot the ball well. We got to rebound, all those little things we got to do right. I'm just hoping 4 quarters of just pretty consistent, solid basketball. And then whatever happens, happens. these last two games are good tests for us, just for the fact, Kindred's going to be the number 1 seed. They've locked that in. WAP's, I think,
Yep.
pretty much locked in the number 2 seed.
Yep.
So if we can come out, play 8 solid quarters against the top 2 teams in the region, that sets us up, pretty good going into the region tournament. So again, we got to play 4 solid quarters a night, and then anything can happen.
This is a fun time of year, though. Isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, you're getting ready. It's March, and you're getting ready for the postseason, and it's got to be an exciting time of the year to get this team ready, knowing, okay, guys, it's time to put up or shut up.
Yeah,
Basically.
it is, and they know we're capable.
Yeah.
And I think they know that if we put 4 quarters together, we can beat the teams we need to beat to get to where we're playing for a game to go to the state tournament. They were all a part of it last year, so they know it's possible. They know, and yeah, I just hope they also know that if we take some time off during a game, the other teams are very capable of beating us.
Right.
So that's. I think if you come and watch, it's gonna be exciting from tip to finish. There's no sit back and just relax. It's not gonna be any of those games. So.
It's not for the weak of heart.
No, that's why they call it March Madness. I
That's
guess
right.
it's just like when you're watching the NCAA March Madness. Those games are to the wire. Every game. It doesn't matter the seed. That's what Region 1 is.
Well, you look at the girls. Northern Cass wins by 15 over the number 2 team in the number 2 seed. So
Yeah.
anything can happen.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun. We're excited to get to that part of the season.
All right, well, Coach, cheer loud at the Shack today for the girls, and we will talk again next week. And good luck here on Wahpeton on Friday.
Yep, should be a fun few days watching the girls and us playing. This is the exciting time of the year.
Then it's Monday.
Yeah.
With Kindred. So
Yeah.
quick
I
turnaround.
mean, it's quick turnaround, and then then we're preparing for us being in the Shack, for a few days. So
All right, good luck, Coach.
all right,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
You bet. Coach Jim McDaniel joining us from the Highlander Boys Basketball. Back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network, and coming up this weekend, the elementary and middle school robotics, VEX IQ, will have their state competition in Grand Forks, and we are joined by 3 of the middle schoolers. And I love your team name because it sums up my life. It is Organized Chaos. I mean, that's my life right there. And this is the team of Organized Chaos. Addie Tufty, Julia Staybrook, and Beckett Ness joining us here this morning. And let's get the mic over here. So, Beckett, when you chime in, everybody can hear your words of wisdom when you get in there and start chatting. But I'll start with you. You guys were at the state capitol this past weekend. How
Yes,
fun
we
was
were.
that, representing Valley City at the state capitol?
It was pretty fun. It was a big experience to talk with people and legislators and meet new people, and it was fun that we got chosen to go up there and in front of the North Dakota State Capitol and propose funding for.
It was kind of a STEM day, wasn't it?
Yep. There were
Okay.
multiple people there with tables and things to do.
Okay.
Yep.
I saw that Governor Armstrong was trying his own driver control with the robot. Did he
Yep.
do okay?
Yeah, he did pretty good. For a beginner. Yeah.
For a beginner, he did
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Addie, for you, what was it like getting a chance to be at the Capitol and just be a part of this whole atmosphere?
It was pretty fun. I'd say it was fun to talk to people that have little knowledge of robotics, and then they express their excitement towards our program.
First time for you
Yeah.
to get to the Capitol? Beckett, for you,
Yep.
too?
Yep.
Julie, how about for you? Or have you been there before?
I have not been there before, so that was my first time.
Okay. So what was it like for you? How fun was that for you to get a chance to go to Bismarck and be part of that day?
It was pretty exciting, especially how we got to meet a whole bunch of people and again fill them in with knowledge about robotics that they probably didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really exciting overall.
Did they? What kind of questions did they have? Like, why? Can you think of some of the questions that they had? Were they intelligent questions?
I mean, some of the questions were like, "What's this game field? What do you do with your robot? How do you code?"
Okay.
those were some main questions that I remember.
The standard?
Yeah.
How do you do this, that,
Yeah.
and the other thing?
Yep.
Okay.
How do you drive?
Okay.
But there were a lot of comments about how important this is for our future
Mm-hmm.
and the future of North Dakota and the United States. It was pretty fun that they got to say that about robotics and stuff.
Absolutely. Now, I was going to ask, with your game, who wants to take this one? Who can explain the game that you have? Who's got the best knowledge? I know you're all kind of looking at one. I mean, I could kind of do it, but I know it would be way off. So who wants to try to give it a try and kind of explain as best you can what this game is that you guys do?
Yeah. You want to go, Addie?
Addie, you got her?
A lot of people have commented that our game is like a mixture of basketball and soccer, because you'll have 3 balls on the field and you can pass to score points. So get it to one robot and then you'll get extra points, and then you want to shoot them through these like hoops basically, and clear switches, and that'll add points to your passes.
Yep. It's like a wall that
Yeah.
on the other end of the game field. It's like a wall, and you just shoot the ball and clear switches.
It's got like a little, almost like a lever in the middle that almost like you hit that. Does that total up the points, or does it matter or not?
That totals up the points. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then the randomizer, once you clear a switch and it goes through onto the game field, you grab the ball, a loader, and you throw it to the other end, and they throw it into this little box, and it randomizes it, so it goes through and it goes every which way.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Julia, which is harder, autonomous or driver control?
Oh, definitely autonomous, because you have to take the time to like code it and make it consistent, which is really hard for our robot because it always drifts a lot. Driver control, you can kind of like fix that and correct yourself, so I
Right.
would say that autonomous is harder.
And then, of course, for people that don't know, you get the qualifying rounds, and then you get to the finals, and you get a little bit of time to adjust. Is it like a pit crew in racing? You only have a short amount of time to get that robot and fix it and do what you know how to do?
We have like this entire box, so each team has like this box, and you can fill your box with pieces. Our box is full with pieces. Since our robot's so big, you gotta have so many spare pieces to be ready in times where you need it. Yep.
How about the journal? That's a crucial part of robotics too. The journal, isn't it, Addie?
Yes, it's very crucial because judges are looking for you to document your evolution of your robot and your teamwork and just doing robotics in general. Otherwise, they can't tell, was it really you that did all the work? But if you can write that down and explain really well, then you can get awards.
Okay. And then you do an interview too, right, Julie? You have a judge's
Yes.
interview. Is that difficult or is that easy?
I would say for our team it's fairly easy because we all talk, we all kind of just flow with them, we try and make them laugh. They don't really even have to ask us questions. We just kind of fill it out and
Okay.
tell them before they could even ask.
Okay. You're anticipating maybe what they're going to
Yeah.
ask, and when that's got to be impressive for them. Like, oh, okay, that was going to be my next question,
Yep.
and you beat them to the punch. Now you got state this weekend in Grand Forks. I guess Beckett, first question for you is. Excited for this, getting a chance to get to the state competition?
Yes, very excited. We are shooting for some awards. We're really hoping we can get Excellence Award. But I think we're all really excited to go and get to go to another competition. It's been a month since we've had our last competition.
Okay.
So,
Now, what have you done in that month, Addie? What kind of things you been doing here getting ready for this?
Well, after the last competition, we stripped our entire robot and we rebuilt the entire thing, and we have not tested it in a competition.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting. It's completely rebuilt.
I think it's a lot better than our original robot.
In what way?
The chassis, the thing where everything was set on would like bend and bow, and
Okay.
we made it way stronger.
And it was basically touching the ground like whenever it was driving. So we'd have like plastic sheets on the bottom and it would just like, it sounded horrible. Like it would screech.
It was like fingernails on a chalkboard.
It was horrible.
Oh, it probably sounded like my old car. But so now, as you get ready, you're both looking like, oh, Okay, that made no sense. For this weekend for you, Julia, what's the most exciting part for this state competition that you're looking forward to?
I would say just kind of like having the team cooperation that like I hope we have, and like having that experience of going to state and hopefully getting an award. There's a couple other teams there that I'm kind of friends with, so it's exciting to see them. And it's just really fun overall that we get to like drive and compete, you know.
Is this it? Is this the last competition of the year then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll hang it up for at least one more year.
Yeah.
All middle schoolers again next year. You're going to be stepping up a notch.
I won't be. I'll be I'll be 8th grade next
So
year.
you got one more year of middle school. You're going to be moving up to high school next year. You
Yep.
two?
Yep.
Okay, excited for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had a chance to see what the high school's all about and what high school competition's all about. So it's a little bit different, because the field's bigger at the high school level than it is in middle school and junior high, or at elementary too, isn't it, Addie?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's a 12 by 12 field.
Okay.
Like foot-wise.
Okay.
Yeah. And ours is only 6 by 8.
Yeah.
It gives you more room to work.
Yeah.
Probably. But that's of course on your robot. Goals set for this weekend, Becca. Do you have any particular goals?
Get as many points as possible in teamwork round and shoot for that excellence award. I think we're all shooting for that. We've been having improvements and additions. We have an entire list of everything we need to get done, and I think we have a lot of potential this weekend. Yeah.
To get that excellence award, Julia, what do you guys got to do?
We have to have like good teamwork with other teams and like ourselves, like kind of medium scores, try and get high. We have to have good sportsmanship, so because judges are always watching.
Yeah.
We have to have good interviews. We have to explain things really well, and just kind of the overall, also including autonomous, which we need to get that fully finished and hopefully working.
Okay.
You have to be top 40% in skills and
Yeah.
in teamwork.
Okay.
So that's like top 9 this weekend.
Okay.
So I think we can do it.
Very doable.
Yeah.
Very
And we
doable.
have to have a good journal. So.
Okay. And that's not
Yeah.
going to be a problem, is it? Because you guys usually have pretty good journals, don't you?
Yeah.
I think we got a pretty good one this year.
Nice, nice. Now, Addie, I guess for you, what do you, if you're going to get that excellence award and just do well this weekend, what does your robot got to do? What do you guys got to do to get to that point?
Do the best we can with our pairings because it's completely random. So you might be paired with a team that's gone to 1 or 2 competitions and haven't had time to build a robot.
Right.
So you gotta do the best you can there. You gotta work on your strategy, and we gotta make sure we test skills throughout the day and then go actually do it. Because if it gets off by a little bit, it might not work, and we might not get that chance to get excellence.
No, I know there's going to be good things here. I got a feeling we're going to get see some more pictures on Facebook of some hardware that you guys are going to be standing in front of. And
Oh, I hope.
been a fun year though overall for you guys.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. It's been a good learning experience with all us 4. We kind of combined teams. Liam and I were on a team last year. These 2 separate teams, and we all
Okay.
just came together.
Made one big happy team.
Oh yeah.
All right.
It's been a good experience.
Good deal. Well, of course, Emma Tufte, the coach for the middle schoolers, and again, Jess Engstead is the coach for the elementary team, and that Beatty is the high school coach. We'll talk high school state next week, but again, this weekend it's the middle schoolers and elementary up in Grand Forks. It is robotics, the VEX IQ state competition, and we've got organized chaos that are sitting here quietly and just, boy, you guys don't talk enough. I don't know. I thought you were going to be good talkers, but you just didn't say a whole lot. But we appreciate you joining me on this morning, and Addie Tufte, Julia Steinbrook, and Becca Ness. Guys, thanks for joining us, and good luck this weekend. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is part of the robotics program of the Miller School. That is, again, the organized chaos. And they've got state competition coming up this weekend in Grand Forks. Back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner here in the Highlander Activity Network, and of course, as we were talking a little bit with Coach McDaniel, the boys are going to be heading to Fargo, to the Shack for a 2:30 game this afternoon, as the Highlander girls will be taking on Northern Cass in the Region 1 Championship, and Coach Jimmy Howard joining us from the Highlander girls. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Did you expect to see Northern Cass today?
No, not kind of the way the end of their season was going, but you know, it's hard. You get a really good player and they're coached very well. But you see a senior that may see like this is the writing on the wall, and you get to that one and done, and they're hot right now and they're playing really well, and so kudos to them and everything they've done. But kind of the way they ended their season, yeah, it's a bit of a surprise.
Well, you guys were 53-40 winners against Wahpeton in a game that was, oh man, that was a battle, physical, up and down, and just it was a good basketball game, really a good test for you guys.
Yeah, not playing for a week. You get that first round bye, which some people say could be bad, could be good. I think that encompassed with an entire week off. There was some rust. In the second quarter is probably one of the worst quarters we've played all season. But offensively, defensively though, we were able to hold our own and just hang in there and go into the halftime down 2. And we came out in the third quarter, fourth quarter, and played much more like ourselves, and took care of what we needed to.
Do you go in a game with a team like a Wahpeton, and they have a good supporting cast, but it's a Scout Woods-led team? You say, okay, she's going to do what she's going to do. We got to more watch the Hallie Millers and the Piper Nelsons.
We can't. There's a focal point of we got to try to make it difficult, but to say we got to hold everybody else, we just got to contest. We try to. Don't do things outside of our defensive principles, and the girls really respond to it. They've played defense so well this year, probably better than I really thought we'd come together, and we've gelled with it. And so that helps with some of the adjustments you have to make when you play teams that are really good or have a really, really good player, and you can double, and the kids know the rotations to other things, and they pick it up pretty well.
It looks like defensively one of the keys for your team is how well you get back transition defense. Is that something you really harp on?
Yeah, and with our press, we usually have a couple people back, but we always talk about, control what we can control, and max effort is something you can control. You don't have to be a special player to do that. Anybody can give max effort, and so sprinting back on defense, protecting the paint, it's talked about probably weekly, if not daily, especially early in the season.
This team, you really can't say has any jitters or any nerves, really, because they've been there, done that, right?
For the most part. We've got some players that have stepped into some new roles, and Sky admitted the other day she was a little nervous on Tuesday. So hopefully that stuff is out after playing in there. But, we do have some experience with that, and those players that have that experience, I think, make everyone else feel really comfortable on the floor.
Now with Northern Cass, yes, everybody knows about a Hayden Crockett, but Tess Jalbert, I think, had a very good game against Kindred. This is a very good ball club you're seeing.
Yeah, they, Tess hit a few threes, I think 4 in the game. The 8th grader, Hussard, had a really good game as well. I just thought that watching the game, Kindred let some of the supporting players around Hayden and around Tess really get comfortable early in the game, and allowed them to have a lot of confidence. And then when they were struggling offensively to score, then Northern Cass comes down, those players have that confidence, and they're getting good looks, and they were hustling, and they just played a really, really good game against Kindred. And it was a surprise to see it, but watching the tape and watching the effort, they're there to battle, and so it's going to be a good game tonight.
I think it was something like a 21-5 run or something like that to end the game. I think Kindred was up 49-48, and then all heck broke loose after that, and they win by 15. So this is a team that finishes strong, too. I mean, you play a whole game, but you got to finish strong as well.
Yeah, we talked about closing out games, finishing strong. Northern Cass is doing that really well right now, and so we're going to have to compete for the entire time. We can't take... if we get up, we can't take our foot off the gas. If we're behind, we can't panic either. And that's something I've really liked about this team is when we are behind, we haven't panicked, and we just keep chipping away and working our way back into games, and we rely on the defensive end to do that.
Yeah, you don't get teams have those 8, 9, 10, 12-0 runs. You're able to keep those runs minimal, so you're not too far down.
Yeah, and a lot of people say basketball is a game of runs, and it truly is. It just depends on when your run happens. And if you can slow their run down or break their runs down into smaller chunks, that really gives you a chance to build a lead and then make them have to play from behind and play maybe out of characteristic.
Do you look at the other 3 games that you've played them, or no?
A little bit. Some things that maybe we can fix here or there. But for the most part, regular season's done. And it'll be interesting because they played man against Kindred. They really haven't played man against us. I don't know if they will. So you got to kind of adjust for both things. But, we're just going to try to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to worry about us and just make those slight adjustments from previous games.
Knowing that there is still a tomorrow, regardless of the outcome, does that make things a little easier or not? Because you'd like to win it and be done.
Yes, you would. That's kind of the thing with the bye where people might say, well, it's not good if you didn't play, but it automatically gives you an opportunity to play 2 games and you're not in a loser out right away. It is comforting to know that if you don't win, you have another opportunity. But those teams up north, those would be really tough games as well, which, that's just adding one more game before you go to state, where you could have, a few days off, some rest. So, you're going to try to go out and get it tonight so that you can have that break. Because another game is just another opportunity for someone to get hurt, something to happen. And so we'd like to close it out tonight, but we know it's not going to be easy.
2:30 in the afternoon because the Bison have a game. I don't know why they didn't play that game someplace else. But anyway, 2:30 this afternoon. Well, scheduled for 2:30. The third place game is at 1, and we're going at 2:30 at the Shack against Northern Cass. What's going to take? What are those the same Jimmy Howard goals to win?
We got to take care of the basketball, limit turnovers. Got to keep their runs short, and then one and done on the for them on the offensive end. And then we just got to execute and stay with what we do. Second quarter of the Wahpeton game, we stopped getting paint touches. We're built to get paint touches, collapse defenses, kick, or get points inside. We started playing a lot more perimeter oriented. And so if we just stay within ourselves and just keep playing the way we're supposed to, move the basketball and share it and not worry about who's doing what, I think we'll be all right.
And that's been the story of this team pretty much all year long.
Yeah, we've moved the ball really well offensively, shared it pretty well all season, and then we've hung our hat on the defensive end, and that's kind of what this team is built on. And I told him the other day, I said, we're kind of an old school throwback team, that a lot of people are 5 out, drive, kick, shoot, which we have some of that, but then we also have 2 posts that can really control the paint throughout a game. So we're kind of a tricky team to prepare for because not everybody has that. So hopefully that plays into our advantage.
And that was kind of the comment made by the announcer on the television, because he's an old school coach himself, and he said this is a throwback type team, and he enjoyed seeing it. One more win. Let's get another W, and we'll worry about what happens after that. Coach, appreciate it. Good luck this afternoon against the Jaguars, and we'll see you again.
Thanks, and go Highliners.
Coach Jimmy Howard joining us. Again, that's a 2:30 start time at the Shack today for the Region 1 Championship, Valley City against Northern Cass. We'll be back, wrap things up here on Coach's Corner for this week from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back on Coach's Corner here in the Highlander Activity Network as we wrap things up. Of course, winter sports season is just about done. Basketball is in the region tournaments going on right now. State hockey going on this weekend in Grand Forks. Of course, the Jamestown Blue Jays with the half dozen Highlanders did not make it to state. Were beaten out in the state qualifier by Bottineau Rugby 3-2 out west. But 6 Highlanders played hockey this year for Jamestown. Corbin Powell, Parker Rolsma, and Parker Rolsma, just a freshman, was the second leading scorer for Jamestown this year with 16 goals and 34 points. Aiden Ness, Trey McPartland, Caleb McLaughlin, and Maverick Ludwig, I believe, are the 6 Highlanders that played for Jamestown this year. But their season is done, went 13-9 under first-year head coach Jake Stillwell. Highlander girls that played on the Jamestown girls team, their season wrapped up. Addie Bacalar Backlar, a freshman that got pretty much most of the time between the pipes this year, was 3.73 goals against average, 89 save percentage, had a great year for Addie. Lainey Backlar was the third leading scorer for the Jamestown girls with 10 goals and 6 assists. And of course, Addie Gerhardt also on the Jamestown Blue Jay varsity hockey team, and they're all going to be back next year as well for a very young Jamestown varsity hockey team. And of course, the state swimming and diving, that'll be going on next weekend. Bodie Haglund from Valley City, a member of that team, the senior, and he qualified for 8 different events at the state competition, but I believe if memory serves, you can only do 4, 2 relays and 2 individual events. But he did qualify for the 50 free, the 100 free, the 200 free, the 100 back, the 100 breaststroke, which he was ranked 18th in the state, the 200 IM, and then 2 relays, the 200 free and the 200 medley relay, where he and his teammates are 5th and 6th in the state in those 2 relays. And that'll be next weekend in West Fargo at the State Swimming and Diving Championship. So good luck to Bodie Haglund, the Highlander that'll be swimming for the Blue Jays here next weekend. Well, again, we've got state robotics coming up this weekend, so good luck to the Highlander middle schoolers and elementary teams. They'll be up in Grand Forks at the state competition. Highlander girls today, 2:30 this afternoon, Region 1 championship. A win, you're at state. You lose, you got to turn around and come back and play in that state qualifying game in Mayville, which would be a 1 o'clock game on Saturday against either Thompson or Grafton, whoever wins that third place game into Region 2. But let's take care of business tonight and punch the ticket to Minot and the state tournament next weekend. Highlander boys tomorrow night, they will be on the road at Wampton to take on the Huskies, and then at Kindred Monday before they get ready for the Region 1 tournament. Well, my thanks to Brian Krewald and Ray Nelson getting us going here today, and of course our coaches joining us today, Trevor Hansen. We've got Trevor Hansen joining us from Highlander Wrestling, Jim McDaniel, Jimmy Howard, and of course our robotics team and Julia Stainbrook, Addie Tufte, and Beckett Ness that joined us here from the Highlander Robotics. We'll be back again next Thursday, and hopefully maybe next Wednesday we may have a special state preview, girls state tournament preview edition of Coach's Corner, but let's get there first and then we'll worry about that next week. So that's going to wrap things up. Of course, Express Wrestling, they've got their big tournament coming up here this next weekend. They'll have their Express Wrestling. And if you're looking for something this Sunday here at the Hack, Special Olympics Winter Games are going to be here at the Hack beginning, I believe, about 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. So come on out here to the Hack and watch some great athletes. It is the North Dakota State Winter Games for the North Dakota Special Olympics here at the Hack on Sunday. Again, we'll be back next week. Till then, Paul McDonald saying thanks for joining us. So that'll do it for Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network.